Hey guys, it's Frank. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I lost my $100,000 job and what I learned about working in corporate and money altogether. If I had to be completely transparent, I was kind of hesitant in posting this video just because it's super personal to me. But after a year and a half of when I got laid off, I think I'm at the right place to now share my experience. And don't worry guys, I do have a happy ending to all of this, so believe me, it does have a happy ending to all of it. I still remember like it was yesterday when I got the news that my service in the company was no longer needed, and that was September 1st of 2020. I remember coming back from vacation, logging on to my work laptop, and then I saw a meeting invite from my director about some work-related item, but I didn't think much of it and I accepted the meeting. A little backstory was that my company was going through a merger and acquisition, meaning we were going to be bought out, and to my knowledge, I remember my director just telling me that everyone on this team was going to be headed over to the new company, and then we'll all be, happily ever after, if you want to call it that. So that being said, I didn't think much of it. I just jumped onto the call, whatever that time was, and then, just talked about work-related stuff. And then I remember jumping on the call, and I was greeted by not only by my director, but a person that I just didn't know of. Well, it turns out that second person actually ended up being a HR person from the company. So all I could remember was jumping onto the call with no expectations. And I just remember my director just having some small chat with me before just addressing the big issue, which was, hey Frank, welcome back from your vacation. I have some bad news, and when we go over to the new company comes October 1st, your service with us will no longer be needed. And then immediately, I just remember him jumping off the call, and then I just had a one-on-one with HR, kind of just telling me the options, my severance package and whatnot, and what I should do or what I could do. So I was sitting in my downtown Toronto apartment, confused and just overwhelmed. I'd never been let off or laid off from a job in the first place. I always just heard of stories of people being laid off. Like I've seen people who laid off, but I never thought it could happen to me. I remember being super sad in the moment, and then I just immediately walked out of my room and I went outside and I just walked around my block just thinking. And I remember calling some of my friends immediately and just telling them about the situation that just occurred. Later on the week, I just remember my director just setting a team call with the national team. So this would include every single person that's on my team in Canada. And I remember jumping on the call, and I knew that he was going to be addressing, what had occurred and who's going to be leaving the company, who's going to be staying, who's going to be going to the new company. I remember looking at my director's face, and I remember him just crying. And he was just saying that, it was out of his power. It was, the new company that didn't want you guys. Why do you get to cry when I'm the one who actually got laid off? And then, jumping off the call, I just remember that he just said that even though I'll be leaving, I'll still be doing the work at hand, the status quo, the job from now till the end of the month until they actually go to a new company. And I just remember him saying something along the lines of like, should anyone not perform their duties the proper way, having given the notice, you're not going to be given the severance package. And I was like, what the hell? Like, you're expecting people who literally just lost their roles to perform at 100% as if nothing happened. And now looking back in hindsight, I am 100% grateful that this day had actually occurred to me. And here are what I've learned about corporate and money altogether. So the first thing that I learned was that little did I know that day of September 1st, 2020 was actually a start of a new chapter without my own realization. This was the point when I decided that I was going to just, pack all my bags and move over to Calgary. Like I remember my lease was coming up to an end. I have no job, so I just said, screw it. Might as well just, take a chance and move over to Calgary and figure things out over there. While making the decision to move to Calgary, why not finally start a YouTube channel, right? I always had this belief of starting a channel even when I was like 10 years of age that I remember, but I was always too scared to do it. And being at rock bottom at this point in my life when I was 24, 25 years old, I said, why not give YouTube a try? And I remember to this day just like taking my iPhone 7 And then I just said, I'll just make 30 seconds clips of my road trip from Toronto to Winnipeg, and then from Winnipeg to Calgary, stitch it all together, and then, try to make a story that would be, kind of cool for everyone to see. And then during this process, I also started to learn how to invest in my money, because I kind of had that self-realization that, my 9-to-5 job shouldn't always just be my source of income. There should be multiple streams of income. So I just went through that rabbit hole of just watching YouTube videos and just reading things. So then I did that, and I learned everything about how to invest money, what are index funds, hedge funds, stock, you name it, everything, because I didn't even know what the heck all that was. I kind of just looked at it from the lens of, I have all this time to now just figure out what to do, because oftentimes when you work your 9-to-5, you only have a few hours in your day to have for your personal life, right? But here I have like 24 hours to literally just think about what I want to do. And I knew that I wanted to first change industries, and I want to also pursue YouTube on the side. I really, to this day, believe I wouldn't have ever started a YouTube channel. I wouldn't have ever started learning investing in that same year if it wasn't for me just losing my job all in the same time and figuring out what I want to do with my next job or my next pivot. The second thing that I learned was that making more money comes with a price, and hear me out on this. So it goes without saying, if let's just say hypothetically you were working a minimum wage job and I gave you a $20,000 bump in your salary, you would probably be a lot more happier. But there's a saying that goes, that threshold peaks around $80,000 of your salary, where if you make anything more after $80,000, you're not necessarily happier. And in my sales role, I was clearing just over $100,000. So I thought I had made it, and I kind of just felt like I had reached my level of happiness. So exists this saying of the hedonic treadmill, which kind of just says that everyone has this current state of mind. And if I were to give you a car tomorrow, you'd be happier, but eventually after giving the car, after a few weeks or months, you'll probably level out back to your current state. So yes, right now I'm fully employed, and I did take a little bit of pay cut because I kind of just recognized at least for myself, focus more on work-life balance than anything else. And I'd rather make slightly less and invest my money strategically than work evenings, weekends, holidays. And here's the thing, I'm not hating on anyone that works 9-to-5. I myself work a 9-to-5 still, but it's balancing the two that, you can always make more money, but it comes with a price. The third thing that I learned about the corporate world is never put someone automatically on a pedestal just because they have a fancier title than you. One of the most important things that I learned about the corporate world is that everyone at the end of the day is looking after themselves, not you. And the reason why I think I fell into this fallacy is that, growing up, you're always taught that whoever is your mentor, your teacher, your professor always has your best interest at heart. And that's the thing, don't get starstruck about fancy titles, because just because someone is a leader or a manager doesn't mean that they can lead, doesn't mean that they can manage. Rather, I'm a person that kind of believes is, if you are truly the leader, you shouldn't have to ask me to make me recognize that you're a manager or a leader. You should rather just show me and let me make that assumption myself, or let me come to the conclusion of myself that you're a person that I truly believe. Oh, and believe me, I'm not saying today to go to your current manager and say screw you, you're not a leader. I'm just saying you shouldn't just have this automatic assumption that just because they have a fancier title than you, that you put them on a pedestal. Not to mention, I come to realize that every company has their way of giving their titles. There's companies who will literally inflate their position title just so when they go to clients, they look more prestige, that they're a senior or a lead on a team, when in reality they're just any normal employee on that company. So the last thing I want to say about this is that you are in full control of your future, not them. If you were to go to your boss and be like, oh, I did so much good stuff, XYZ, and can I have a 5% raise? A lot of times they go,
oh, sorry, we don't have the budgets for you this year. How about next year?
I'm a firm believer, if you want your desired pay or you want a different title, it's not your expectation to stay at your current job and ask your leader, because they'll never give it to you more times than not. You have a better shot going to a different company, asking for more money, asking for a better title than you ever would be in a position by staying on your team. The fourth thing that I learned from being laid off is that, you know, at the end of the day, you work to live, not live to work. In this world, there is one thing that you can never get back, and that is time. Like, for example, I can always give you more money, right? But at the end of it, you can't get back more time. I also learned that there's kind of like a yin and a yang in your workforce where, you know, I was in sales, and in sales, at least in the corporate world, it kind of has that glamorous lifestyle where, you know, I remember going to this thing called like sales rally where, you know, you have everyone from the nation come to an event, and it was kind of weird because you see like older adults like partying as if they're in their 20s, which was kind of weird. But you know, you're given free food, you're given a hotel room. And that's why I kind of feel you get that glamorous job in sales, because, you know, you're given all this free, you know, drinks, food, and all that sort of events. But little do you know, you are technically combining your personal life with your career. A very, very funny example of this is on LinkedIn. Like, I literally see people that are so cringe on this platform where they almost like, they really think their company has their best interest. They'll be like,
oh my God, I just had a child. Thank you so much to XYZ company for giving me the day off and letting me be home with my family. I owe the world to you.
Like, it is the dumbest thing I ever seen. They literally trick themselves into thinking that they love their job. This brings me to my final conclusion, and what do I have to say? And I will say the corporate ladder is overrated. I feel like the corporate ladder is similar to being a celebrity, and what Jim Carrey says is like this, is that I wish every single person in this world could be rich and famous and have all this glamorous life, only to realize they never wanted it in the first place. When you are on your deathbed, period, I don't think people really give two craps about the job that they climbed, how much money they made. I think at the end of it, people just care about their relationships, their experiences of everyone that's surrounding them, like the family members that are around them. They're not worrying when they're on deathbed like, oh man, I can't believe I got that job thing like when I was 35. Like, no one gives a crap. So anyway, guys, that's the story of how I lost my six-figure job. By all means, if anyone has any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and following my good old millennial journey. I really do appreciate every single person that watches this, comments, likes, or subscribes to my channel. And I guess I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace.